Ja, hallo zu Ausgabe 3 unseres Interviewformates Inside Steelers. Nach Coach Daniel Noh und Stürmer Yannick Wenzel darf ich heute auch einen Stürmer begrüßen, und zwar Brett Breitkreuz. Servus Brett.
Hallo.
Ja, Brett, auch an dich die Frage, wie geht's dir und was hast du denn seit dem Ende der Saison bisher alles so gemacht?
Gut, danke. Wie geht's dir?
Mir geht es auch sehr
super gut. Ja, das ist Corona-Krise, so meine Familie bleibt zu Hause ein bisschen und für die Kinder es ist echt schwer. So, es ist keine Kindergarten, kein Spielplatz und so. Ja, ich bin jetzt ein Vater. Das war's und die letzte 5 bis 6 Wochen wir in die kleine Gruppe Training und ja, das war's. Bisschen Barbecue.
It's a full-time job as a father, huh?
Yeah, walking the dog and just trying to keep my wife happy and the kids occupied. So it's tough without the kindergarten, obviously, and like I said, just exploring a little bit around here and checking out, a little bit of Baden-Württemberg. During the season, we don't have a whole lot of time, so really cool, really nice area. So, doing a little bit of, hiking and walking around, and just bought a bike. So I'm gonna, check that out a little bit. And my daughter learned to ride a bike now, so without her little stabilizers. Mm-hmm. So she's been tearing around. So yeah, just like I said, just family life, and then every morning we've been at the rink and training. So that's about it.
E-Bike oder normales Fahrrad?
No, normal.
Normal, ja. Gott sei Dank, gell?
Ja.
Nee, und du hast ja gerade schon gesagt, ihr trefft euch morgens hier im Fitnessraum, trainiert mit dem Fitnesscoach Fabi Wolpert. Das sind dann auch immer in Vierergruppen. Achtest du da jetzt schon drauf, was du trainierst, oder wie trainierst du jetzt persönlich für dich?
Yeah, it's mostly personalized. So, I'm usually with Tim, Eric, and then Pierman comes for his workout. So we got our group there, and then there's a group at 8:30, and we're at 10. And we just basically do a little bit of, rehabilitation, kind of things like that, hips, groins, and then some weight training, and then a lot of conditioning. So Fabi's really big in the conditioning, which for me is good, and I think, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it so far, so we'll see. It's not always easy, but, of course, if it was easy, everyone would do it. So, it's been good that way, and we've got a good group. I played with Timmy and Eric before, and, it's good to have some laughs. So it was nice, really nice the last little while just to be out of the house after that, 4 weeks of staying home. So just to be able to have that, that group and that sort of, able to visit with people and see other people, that was awesome. So yeah, it's been fun.
Und dann machst du aber auch trotzdem noch zu Hause nochmal extra was, Fahrradfahren, Wandern gehen, das ist ja auch relativ anstrengend.
Yeah, well, I bought a bike, so I have an exercise bike, so I have that downstairs. My wife, when the gym was closed, she likes to work out too, so we bought one, put it in the basement, so that's nice. And then, obviously, my kids are, if anyone's ever met my kids, they're full of energy, so they're not like other people's kids, I guess is the easiest way to describe them. They're different, and if you meet them, So, it's from 7 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night, they have one gear and one speed, and that's
full gas
Gaben. So they go, and that's basically takes up most of my energy. So in the evenings, I'll ride the bike a little bit or do something else, but otherwise, it's mostly just being a dad after I'm done training. So.
Aber du freust dich, wenn es dann wieder richtig losgeht, oder?
Ebenso.
Ja. Kommen wir zu ein paar Fragen, die uns erreicht haben von den Fans der Steelers. Und zwar Sven und Silke wollen wissen, was so die größten Unterschiede zwischen der Arena hier in Bietigheim und der in Frankfurt ist und wie die Stimmung so ist. Du hast ja jahrelang in Frankfurt gespielt. Was macht so diese 2 Arenen aus?
I think the biggest difference is that, if you look at Frankfurt, it's mostly 5,000 people all the time, and they have that low roof. Mm. And I don't know, the 2 loudest buildings I've ever played in Germany is Frankfurt and Augsburg. So even with the big arenas, it's just the way they think the arena's set up, and with that, the stay curve is right below the ceiling basically, so everything bounces back down. And when you're on the ice, it's loud there. Bietigheim's different. It's more, I think the crowd's more, I would think they know more, feel like they know more what's going on. Not that, I shouldn't say that Frankfurt, that the fans don't know or whatever else, but it's more of an event there. It's more of like a soccer match where they're constantly screaming, constantly chanting, constantly singing, whereas in Bietigheim, it's more of a North American atmosphere where they sort of watch the game, and then if something happens, then they cheer. And if you've ever been to an NHL game, while the game is going on, it's dead quiet. There's no sound. You could sit there and talk like we're talking, and it would be perfectly easy conversation. When something happens, then 18,000 people scream. So here it's more in that situation where, you know, they're more watching the game and something happens loud. Whereas, like I said, Frankfurt, they just have the chance and they go crazy. But yeah, I mean, you can't compare anything in this second league to how loud Frankfurt is. I mean, it's a totally different story.
Ja, das liegt ja auch daran, dass, wie du gesagt hast, da sind ja auch weitaus mehr Zuschauer in der Arena. Bleiben wir mal bei dem Thema Frankfurt und Bietigheim. Nach dem Aufstieg der Löwen in die DL2 war es ja so, dass bei den Spielen zwischen Bietigheim und Frankfurt ja echt wirklich immer eine Bombenstimmung geherrscht hat. Entweder in Frankfurt oder auch hier. Diese Wechselgesänge, die es da so gab, kriegt man das als Spieler da so mit? Fragt man sich dann, was ist denn jetzt los? Feuern die sich jetzt gegenseitig an? Kriegt man das unten auf dem Eis mit?
Yeah, I think the biggest, you know, obviously my first year in the league, Bietigheim was, I think, first place the whole season. You know, in Castle ended up beating them in the finals. They had, you know, McQueen and Marcus Keller got really hot there, and but yeah, they were top team. And then the next year, obviously, I think, you know, that was the year that we won in Frankfurt. And I mean, it was always hard to play Bietigheim. You know, I'd never beat them. I think it was 6 games in a row that the Steelers had beat us. And then, or 7 times actually. And then we came here, 1 game in January, I think, or February. And that year, and we beat Bietigheim 6-1, and I think that was when that team believed that, okay, that's it, we can win this. And you know, it was both teams healthy, going against each other. It was after Frankfurt, we had Gavlik and everything else, and yeah, and we, you know, we basically, you know, ran Bietigheim out of the rink, and that was when I think it clicked that we're the best team and we can win this. And but it was always just a huge battle. And you know, even, you know, like now Promi, he's my neighbor. But for 4 years we went at each other. You know, there's pictures on the internet of, you know, him hitting me and me hitting him. And the funny story is that I broke his nose one time in Bietigheim. So now we're neighbors, and our kids play together, and it's funny, and you know, you laugh, and it's hockey, but they were always a battle. And you know, and then the next year, obviously Bietigheim won, and that was, you know, but at the playoff series against Bietigheim, it was always those 2 years or 3 years that we played. It always felt like, you know, the final obviously was against Bietigheim, so the winner was going to win. But that year in the semifinals when we played and Bietigheim won, that was, to me, that was the final. You know, whatever team made it out of that series alive was going to mop the floor with Garmisch, and that's what ended up happening. So, you know, we were just trying to survive that series and get through it. And, you know, I guess, unfortunately for me at the time, Bietigheim ended up winning. But yeah, it's always fun. And then now from the other side, I can definitely see where Frankfurt gets a little bit of a home ice advantage from. Going in and, you know, playing against them, it can be intimidating to play there. You know, it's loud, it's dark. You know, the lights shine right on the ice, and it's dark around, and it's hot. But yeah, I mean, and especially for me, I think like the fans always really treated me well there. And so it was a little bit emotional going back for the first time, especially at the start of the game. But, you know, I mean, you know, life changes, you move on. And I honestly, you know, mean this when I say this, that like I'm lucky to be here. I'm happy to be here. It's an awesome place to play. It's an awesome city. And, you know, the fans here have treated me, you know, the same way just as well. And I really appreciate that. You know, at the end of the day, that's why you play hockey, and that's part of it. And, you know, I mean, it's always nice to be, you know, recognized or whatever else, but just the fact that, you know, the city and the team here is really open, you know, with my family, and that's an important thing for me too. And, you know, it's cool to see my kids running around the arena and, you know, the fans and stuff, and they're just, it's an awesome feeling, and I, you know, I love it here, and I'm really thankful when I look at the, you know, the course of my time in the second league that, you know, number one, that I got to play in Frankfurt just in that atmosphere in the city, and then number two, that to come here and to play in a place like this where, you know, you look around, I mean, the arena, the weight room, the organization, the city, it's, you know, there's a reason players come here and don't leave, you know. Yeah. So that's, you know, for me, that's, you know, when I wasn't going back to Frankfurt, or when it didn't work out there and I knew I wasn't happening, you know, I phoned my agent, and then I said, the first place I want to go, I said, phone Bietigheim, I want to go to Bietigheim. And so luckily it ended up working out. So it was really for me, there was no other option. So once I was able to figure that out with Volker and work through that, you know, it was just a matter of, you know, this and that and getting it done. So I really wanted to be here, and same thing. So I'm really happy that it worked out.
Ja, und wir sind auch sehr, sehr froh, dass du jetzt für die Steelers spielst. Und zwar in Frankfurt hast du ja auch mit deinem Bruder zusammengespielt, mit Clark, der jetzt dann nach Kassel gewechselt ist. Ja. Wie war es denn, mit deinem Bruder in einer Mannschaft zu spielen? Und dann, ich glaube, es waren 2 Jahre, die ihr da zusammen gespielt habt. Und dann ab Jahr 3 in der DL2 dann plötzlich gegen ihn zu spielen. Ja. Ich glaube, hier mit Weißwasser hat er ja auch ein Empty Net geschossen. Da weiß ich noch, deine Kinder sind da völlig in Jubel ausgebrochen. Und deine Frau hat dir noch gesagt, hey, falsches Team, falsches Team. Wie ist es denn so, mit Bruder zu spielen und dann gegen Bruder zu spielen?
Yeah, well, obviously playing with him is, if you've ever met us, we're very similar in a lot of ways. But, you know, we had our battles, we had our fights on, you know, in the dressing room and stuff, and the guys love to, you know, get us going and get us arguing with each other. But we're very close, we talk every day. So it was really cool, really special. And obviously to win a championship with him, that was unreal too. A great feeling. Yeah, and like I said, we were lucky that it would happen and work out that way. But against him, it's a little bit weird. I got to be honest. The first time, especially this year, was better because it was the first. You know, I was kind of used to it already. But the first time when Weißwasser came to Frankfurt last year, it was really, really, really weird to see him wearing a different color jersey and a different team, and see that. You know, it was emotional. It bothered me a little bit, but you know, now we're kind of getting used to it, and it's fine. But you know, obviously, you know, now he's in Kassel. He's a trader, so Hessen Derby, tell him he's. Yeah, for me, like I said, it's nice, and I wish that, you know, I wish we could play together again. So maybe down the road at some point. But for this time, yeah, it was special, and we got great memories. So.
Ja, das ist doch gut. Und wie du gesagt hast, vielleicht kreuzen sich ja eure Wege nochmal in der gleichen Mannschaft. Ja. Vor deiner Zeit in Frankfurt warst du 5 Jahre für Köln und Augsburg in der DEL aktiv. Was sind denn so, klar, es ist schon eine Weile her, aber was sind so für dich so die größten Unterschiede zwischen DEL, DEL2, und wie denkst du, würde denn so ein Spitzenteam aus der DEL2 in der DEL abschneiden, zumal wir ja dieses Jahr oder die in der kommenden Saison auch wieder diesen sportlichen Aufstieg haben?
Ich hoffe. Aber in meiner Meinung, in die DL 2 bis 3 Mannschaft vor dem Start der Saison haben eine Chance, die Meisterschaft zu holen. So Mannheim, Cologne, or Mannheim, Munich, and there'd be one other surprise team. But really, if you look at the last 6 or 7 years of the league, the season's over before it starts. There's no salary cap, there's no players union, the national players play on one team or 2 teams, and that's the biggest difference. And so to be perfectly honest, the top teams in the DL, we're not even close. But the bottom teams in the DL are not even close to the top teams either. So the top teams in the second league, it's a little more balanced. You know, you look at every team, Bietigheim, Frankfurt, Kaufbeuren, you know, Kassel, they're all sort of it's very close, very tight. And so those teams have, you know, there's not really one or two teams that have really stood out the last couple of years. You know, other than, you know, I think 3 years ago with Frankfurt, 2 years ago with Bietigheim, I think those were probably the two best teams that I've played against or played with in this league so far. So, and they're not that far off. I mean, if you think about it in the fact that I think the biggest difference between the DL and the DL2 is, number one, the defenseman. So obviously you have the defenseman and the goaltending, especially from a German perspective, and then the imports. I mean, you have 9 imports, so it makes a huge difference. I mean, if you take Bietigheim's team 2 years ago and put on 5 more imports, well, what do you think that team looks like? It's the same thing with that year we won in Frankfurt, and I think that's just the biggest difference, but it's not far off, you know, especially with the core group of German players that the top teams in the second league have, that, you know, with a couple little changes, couple little adds, goalies, etc., that's the biggest difference. And then obviously I think the coaching and that it plays a huge part in it, and just the support staff with the systems and, you know, the little, like I said, 3 assistant coaches, and it just it spreads things out a little bit and makes it a little bit easier for the head coach, whereas a lot of times in the second league with the smaller coaching staff or whatever else, sometimes I think they have a little bit more on their plate, so to speak. So, but yeah, I don't think it's far off, and I'm really excited for the Abendabstieg because I think it's going to surprise a lot of people.
Glaube ich auch, ja. Du hast vorhin oder gerade eben den Salary Cup angesprochen. Jetzt nur mal deine persönliche Meinung. Wärst du dafür, dass es jetzt zum Beispiel in der DEL so einen Salary Cup wie in der NHL geben sollte?
Yeah, I don't know how it would work. I just use it as an example. I think for me, the biggest change I'd like to see, or I think would work, is if they had a player draft for the German players, you know, at 18. Then you don't have a situation where you have a guy like Leon Bergman. That's just the one example I have. But so he played in Iserlohn, he developed in Iserlohn, he scored 20-some goals. And Mannheim says, oh, here's whatever, who knows, $500,000 for a couple of years. Well, Iserlohn can't afford that. So they just say, well, we can't afford it. So then he goes to Mannheim. Yeah. And I think if you were to make a situation where you had certain like escalators in guys' salary, so they own your rights till you're 25. And if you finish in the top 10 in the league in goals, you take the average salary from the top 10 guys that finish in goals, say it's $85,000. So then Iserlohn says, okay, here's your salary, it's $85,000. And if I don't want to pay you $85,000, then you're free to go and sign anywhere else. But that way, it's based on how good you play, and then at 25, you can be a true free agent. And then if some team wants to pay you €1 million for 5 years, go for it. But I think that it would just really even things out, and then you wouldn't have the same situations you get into that, you know, like I said, where teams are trying to find cheap imports, or there's players in the DL that straight German players that shouldn't be there but are because they're willing to play for less money than guys make in the second league. And so that's it would sort of fix that situation. But again, that's what I think. And
ja, aber warum sollte das nicht kommen? Weil das, wie du sagst, das gleicht ja das Ganze so ein bisschen mehr aus. Also das wäre vielleicht auch in Anführungsstrichen ein bisschen fairer den Mannschaften gegenüber, die jetzt nicht diese finanziellen Mittel haben, wie jetzt, wie du gesagt hast, Mannheim, München oder auch Köln. Ja. Da ist ja Straubing ein gutes Beispiel, die sich ja jetzt richtig gemausert haben zu einem Top-Team in den letzten Jahren in der DEL. Kommen wir nochmal zu dir zurück. Du hattest jahrelang, oder was heißt jahrelang, du hattest schon so einen Ruf, so als Raubein oder besser gesagt so als sehr, sehr harter Spieler wurdest du so ein bisschen tituliert. Statistisch gesehen, deine Strafzeiten sind von Jahr zu Jahr ein bisschen zurückgegangen. Ja. Ändert man seinen Spielstil, wenn man älter wird? Oder wie würdest du auch deinen Stil zu spielen denn beschreiben?
Yeah, I think part of it is, you know, getting older, so you have a little bit more, I guess I'm not as angry as I used to be would be the best thing. Having kids teaches you more patience, so that's part of it. Other times, I think the first couple years, you know, in Cologne, we weren't a very good team. In Augsburg, we weren't a very good team. Frankfurt, my first year, we weren't a very good team. So you're always chasing the game. You're always trying to change momentum. You're always trying to do something to get your guys back into it or be part of it. And, you know, when you're on good teams, you know, there's honestly most of the time there's no need for it. you know, I don't think my game has changed physicality wise. You know, I still hit, I still go to the net, I still do those type of things. I just basically sometimes don't act like an idiot like I used to all the time. And the game has changed of hockey too, right? Like even with the new rules, when I first got to Germany, you could belt somebody and, you know, it was their fault, not yours. Well, now with the way hockey is, you always got to be so careful because there's no onus on the puck carrier anymore. It's all on the guy that's making the hit, not the guy that's getting the hit. Whereas the way that I grew up and the way when I started professional hockey, it was if you have the puck, you got to watch out. Whereas now it's you can basically do whatever you want, and you have to like literally be so careful when you hit somebody. And so for me, you know, I just think that's you know, that's why I kind of watch myself a little bit. And then obviously, you know, I think I've improved my game a little bit on the offensive side of things. So sometimes it's not worth it for me to fight or to go after some guy that's not very good and then have me sit in the box, you know. So it's different if, you know, if there's guys that are good players or whatever else. But, you know, like for example, you get, you know, I mean, I'm not going to mention any names, but, you know, there's some donkeys in the league this year that were running around. Well, like I have no interest because you've scored one goal and it's February 23rd. Like, what do you want me to do? You know, like you do better for us out there than you do on the bench or you do in the penalty box. So, and Paul Gardner was big with that too. He helped me to realize and showed me that like, hey, like you can help, you can be an asset. You don't need to be fighting. You don't need to be doing all this stuff to help us.
The team,
yeah, to help the team. So I definitely still have it in my game, and you know, I definitely, you know, can bring it back a little bit if I have to. But yeah, I guess most of the time it's just situation. So.
Wo siehst denn du in deinem Spiel deine absoluten Stärken?
I think just that I can go to the net. You know, I think below the hash marks and around the crease, that's my best part. You know, the best part of my game, and especially in the corners. You know, protecting the puck, making plays, doing things like that. Yeah, like I said, in front of the goalie. I think if you ask any goalie in this league who they hate the most, it's probably me. So that's my goal every year, is to own that ice, you know, from the hash marks to the front of the net. So I try to make that my main job. So.
Und wo würdest du sagen, okay, da muss ich mich oder da sollte ich mich noch ein bisschen verbessern?
I think consistency, you know, and also I think a little bit of, you know, just a little more confidence to make, you know, certain plays at certain times. Sometimes you kind of get into it's more of a lull in the game, and I think that for me, like I said, I need to just be more consistent with, you know, bringing my type of game every night, and I think that'll make a huge difference. So.
Kannst ja, hast
mehr Konstanz.
Ja, über komplett 60 Minuten.
Ja, genau.
Aber ich glaube, daran müssen sehr, sehr viele arbeiten, weil ich glaube, durch gut 60 Minuten hat keiner Eiszeit, außer der Goalie. Ja. Aber die 20, 25 Minuten, die man am Abend hat, da sollte man wirklich 100%.
Ist die einfache Antwort, aber immer suchen. So.
Sven hat uns eine Frage geschickt, und zwar dein absolutes Lieblingsteam in der NHL.
Toronto Maple Leafs.
Von Anfang an, schon als Kind?
Yeah,
oder?
From the time I knew what hockey was. So you can see my son running around with his little Maple Leafs, his little Austin Matthews jersey. So I bought that right from the store at the Air Canada Centre. And it's like real replica, like actual game jersey. So yeah, my dad got me into the Maple Leafs when I was a kid, and Wendell Clark was my all-time favorite player growing up. So he grew up about an hour down the road from me. So there's a big sign where his hometown. I know where he grew up on the farm. And when I was a kid, I sort of aligned with that, or it was, you know, I could see myself in him. You know, he was from small town Saskatchewan, farm kid, grew up playing outdoor rink, skating on the pond, et cetera, and then ended up playing for the Maple Leafs. So my career never worked out like that, but he was always my favorite player. And yeah, since the day I probably knew what hockey was, I've been a Leafs fan. So. Ja,
mit denen geht es ja jetzt dann, seitdem Austin Matthews ja gedraftet worden ist, geht es ja dann auch langsam wieder bergauf.
Yeah, I was pretty happy when that happened. So he was, I got to see him play one time in Switzerland when he was 17, when he played, or 18 when he played in Switzerland, and his draft year. And yeah, he was 18 years old and the best player on the ice. So I was like, yeah, well, I was pretty happy when we drafted him. So it was exciting.
Was glaubst du, ist für die Steelers in der kommenden Saison machbar?
Machbar, what's that?
Was könnt ihr erreichen?
Okay. I think that we have a lot of really good players right now, and we have really good German players. And our issue last year was that we didn't have, we just didn't find our way. And obviously I think, some good imports is really gonna help that. But it just seemed like everything that kind of could go wrong last year did go wrong. And we didn't really have the right mix. And I think this year, looking forward, I really like the way that we've prepared so far. Our guys have gone, like in the weight room and stuff, there's I think 13 or 14 guys that, have been constantly working out in different groups. And, everyone's going hard. I think we're gonna be in really good shape. I talked to Danny a couple times. I'm really excited for what he's gonna bring to the table. He seems very modern. He knows what's going on. He's not old school at all. He's kind of realizes systems and things like that are so important. And obviously, I have no idea about players coming in or players coming going. But I think with the base that we have here and with the way that we've kind of worked, it's always just saying this is always darkest just before the dawn. And I think with the way things ended last year, there's a lot of hunger and a lot of guys really looking forward to next season, and I really like that attitude. And it reminds me a lot of some of the situations I've been in the past where there was high expectations, didn't reach them, and guys really put the work in and come back. And so I'm not going to say what I think we can reach or what I hope we reach, but obviously I think that there's a lot of steps in the right direction, especially that I didn't see. I shouldn't say that I didn't see, but it's a lot clearer to see that we're going forward than it was to see, like, say, last August. So it's good.
Und vielleicht noch als Abschlussfrage, hilft es euch vielleicht sogar ein bisschen, jetzt die Krise? Ich meine, du kannst nicht nach Hause nach Kanada, weil du ja dann in Quarantäne musst für 2 Wochen und dann verliert ihr wieder an Zeit, dann weiß man nicht, kannst du wieder zurückfliegen. Hilft es sogar ein bisschen, dass die Gruppe so ein bisschen enger oder die Mannschaft so ein bisschen enger zusammenkommt, weil ihr alle hier seid?
Yeah, for sure. I think, obviously our plan was to stay, my family, we were planning to stay in Bietigheim until at least June. Anyways, we love it here. It's a beautiful city. We're so lucky to live where we live, right by the kindergarten, and obviously that's not working out, but my daughter starts Grundschule in a year, so it was important for her to keep working on her German and everything else. Because I'm no help. I speak, pretty good German. Not on the video, but I don't want to teach her what I know, because what I know is learned from mostly a hockey dressing room. So
Lieber nicht, nein.
Yeah, so that's not good. So that was a big thing for us. And then but yeah, you're right, 100%. The guys here, and obviously I've been friends with Timmy for a long time and Eric too. So having them around and the McKnights and everybody else has been great. And to see everybody, and like I said, we're all kind of close together and to work out, and for sure it's going to help, and for sure it brings us together that you can all, there's 12 or 13 guys that see each other every day at some point. So yeah, you get to see each other on the weekends, and it brings everybody closer together, especially with the families. So.
Das ist gut. Gut, Brett, dann erstmal vielen Dank für die ganzen Antworten auf die Fragen. Zum Abschluss, auch für dich, so wie beim Yannick Wenzel haben wir das gemacht. Ich stelle dir 2 Begriffe zur Verfügung, du suchst dir einen aus. Okay. Ja? Manchmal frage ich dich vielleicht mal dazu, warum du gerade das ausgewählt hast, aber lassen wir uns mal überraschen. Okay. Brett, Tor oder Vorlage?
Tor. It's the hardest thing to do in hockey.
Yannick hatte Vorlage.
Yeah, but
First game, first goal, assist, Wenzel, goal, Breitkreuz.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Äppler oder Viertele? You don't know what it is?
What do you say, apple?
Äppler.
What's an appler? Oh, Bembel.
This Bembel.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah.
No, appler. Yeah. Oh, like Bembel, like a Bembel wine. No apple wine. No, whatever else is you said.
Viertele.
What's that?
Ein Viertele Wein.
Oh, that's a wine from here? Yeah, wine over apple wine. No apple wine. Sorry, I wasn't sure.
Kondition oder Kraft?
Kraft, immer.
Also auch kein Waldläufer.
Yeah, no, not my thing.
Rock oder Techno?
Rock.
Which band?
I like the Chili Peppers. Avenged Sevenfold's got some good stuff to get you fired up. And I gotta say, you know, the Pearl Jam.
No.
So, and the Tragically Hip. I'm Canadian, so you gotta like the Tragically Hip.
Netflix oder Kino?
Netflix.
Singen oder tanzen?
Beides.
Was kannst du besser?
Beides.
Berge oder Strand?
Neither.
What else?
Just forest. A little bit of lake, but I'm from the prairies. I don't like mountains.
Just flat.
Let me watch my dog run away for 3 days. That's my kind of
Okay.
that's my kind of living.
Fight oder check?
Depends if you win or lose the fight, but honestly, there isn't a better feeling than if you if you give it to somebody that you really don't like. So I gotta say fight.
Like in real life.
Yeah.
Crosby oder Ovechkin?
Crosby, come on.
Crosby?
Oh, don't even. I'm Canadian, number one, and number two, it's not even close. Although I do like Ovi, but
Crosby oder McDavid?
Crosby.
Okay. Frankfurt oder Bietigheim?
Bietigheim. I like Bietigheim. Honestly, that's the honest answer. I really like the city. I really like the area. And I just love being able to ride my bike everywhere, to walk everywhere. And it's such a nice city with so many parks and green spaces that it reminds me of home a little bit. And I love the city. So I could see myself living here after hockey. And that's the first time I've ever said that about anywhere in Germany.
Das ist doch ein wunderbares Schlusswort. Brett, vielen, vielen, vielen Dank, dass du dir die Zeit genommen hast hier für diese vielen Fragen, dass du so ausführlich und gut geantwortet hast. Auch dein Deutsch hättest du ruhig durchziehen können.
Yeah, I had a bad experience in Cologne with German, so I try to keep it English for the most part. So
Okay.
if you see me in the street or you see me wherever, then I'll feel free to speak German. But yeah, when I do these kind of things, I just got to be careful. Because safety first.
Das ist doch ein tolles Schlusswort noch einmal. Ja, herzlichen Dank fürs Zuschauen, fürs Einschalten. Nochmal vielen Dank an Brett Breitkreuz. Das war's dann für heute und wir melden uns dann mit dem nächsten Interviewpartner in der kommenden Woche höchstwahrscheinlich. Bis dahin allen eine gute Zeit. Ade.